All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to The Thoughtful Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Jen Amos. And today I have with me Jonathan Troen, who is a self-love mentor, chief inspirational officer at Self-Love Revolution. His website is selfloverevolution.com. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here and share.
Yeah, for sure. I just have to start by asking, I think you're the first person I've talked to who labels himself as a self-love mentor. So let's start there. What does it mean to be a self-love mentor?
It means we're kind to ourselves. It means we stop beating ourselves up every single day. Which most of us are programmed to do, just reviewing all the mistakes and convincing ourselves that we're not good enough and convincing ourselves that this might not work and all those kind of things that we as entrepreneurs have in our head, all these stories about, yeah, I'm successful, but that person's more successful. When will I be there? And when I'm there, I'll be happy. Self-love is about being kind to yourself, so that you can show up with more strength in the world and do the things that are meaningful for you. The mentor part, I mean, it was a journey. Now it means that I help others in this journey. First, I had to do it for myself because I was not always this way. I was the other way, beat myself up all the time. I learned the tools, I practiced them. I made them understandable for me. And now I share it with as many people as I can because we all deserve it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs have this kind of carrot dangling on a stick mentality, kind of like, I just got to keep reaching. You know, it seems like this never ending case of like, I got to keep reaching until who knows what, fill in the blank, which is never really there. Or you know, entrepreneurs constantly pushing back the finish line and saying, no, I'm not done yet. I still have so much more to go, right? Or, you know, I'm coming up with more analogies like climbing up the mountain, but not appreciating the view. I just feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are very much like that. And so, and you know, I know that you were able to figure that out for yourself. And you mentioned that you had to learn for yourself how to give yourself self-love. Let's talk about that time where you realize that you needed to do that for yourself, because I feel like you have to go through something, you know, really difficult or traumatic, or there has to be some kind of catalyst for you to get to that point, right?
Yeah, well, we as entrepreneurs are our own worst enemy. And I was certainly mine. I mean, you spoke about, you know, that carrot keeps moving, and it's okay to set up new goals. We always need to do that. But for them to be the source of your happiness, that's when the problem comes in. And this is what it was for me. So I was living in Los Angeles, more in the middle of Los Angeles. And you know, I had a fairly successful company. And, you know, my goal was to get closer to the beach. And so my company got taken over by another company, and okay, now this is great. And I moved to 11th Street. So now I'm 11 blocks from the beach. And I was so excited for about, you know, 6 months or so. And then I'm like, yeah, it's like a 20-minute walk to the beach. This is crazy. I mean, I have to get in my car if I want to get there quickly. And that's kind of stupid. Of course, I was so much closer than before. So I said, okay, well, we got to change this. So I moved to 3rd Street. I'm like, well, now it's great. I can see the sunset out my window. I can have my feet in the water in 10 minutes. And I would do it all the time. I would see the sun going down, and I go, I'd take a break from whatever I was doing. I'd walk out the door. I'd have my feet in the water. But on my way to get my feet in the water, I'd pass houses on 2nd Street, on Ocean, and then the houses that are really on the, you know, walk out the back door and your feet are in the sand. And I was like, well, what? And I can still picture the house. When I'm in that house, well, then I'll be happy. And this went on. And I really thought when those other things will happen, when I get successful enough, you know, because everyone wants the 6 figures, right? So, okay, so I got there. Like that's what everybody said would make me happy. And I believed it. But there I was. Well, no, I guess I need a lot more to get that house in Santa Monica on the beach. And I just woke up one day. Well, I was actually listening to a song, and there's a park that overlooks the ocean, and I'm walking there. I would walk there almost every day. Beautiful. And I'm listening to a song which I had listened to thousands of times before. I'd even interviewed the band, because that's what I was doing in those days. I was interviewing music artists and bands and celebrities and film stars. That's what I was doing at the time. So I had even interviewed the band. We broadcast them live. It's a band called Social Distortion. I was a punk rocker in those days. And it was as if I heard the words for the very first time. And the words were, you can run all your life, but not go anywhere.
Wow.
And I just paused, because I didn't give you the whole story where, I moved to Denmark and lived in Denmark for a while, and then moved to Spain, and then moved to the middle of LA, and then Santa Monica, and then 3rd Street. So I just paused, and as if I had heard it for the first time, and I literally heard it thousands of times before, oh my God, that's me.
Wow.
I'm just running and running and running, and I'm still here. And what was here were those thoughts in the head of, you're not good enough. It didn't matter how successful I was. What a great day I had. At the end of the day, there was still someone else doing better than I was, better off than I was, or whatever story I could make up. And I have no idea if they were really better off than I was, because I don't even know these people. But we make up all these stories about our own self-worth and our value. And that's where I was. And that's when I had to begin to figure out why I was still beating myself up, even though I was successful on paper, and then figure out a way out. And that's what I did. And that's where I came upon self-love.
Yeah. And here you are with the self-love revolution.
Yeah. It's the most powerful. I'm telling it's what I do. I practice this every single day. Every single day. It is the most powerful work. And look, I've taught massive action, and taking action is a part of what I teach. And I've taught, the self-worth and the courage skills and all this kind of stuff. And they're all pieces of it, but none of them are the complete package. At least in my experience, because I did them all, right? I did how to network better and how to meet people. I did it all. But something was always missing until I found this missing piece of, there's nothing wrong with you. You're okay just the way you are. You're awesome just the way you are. And once I learned that, and I knew that, and I owned it, all the other stuff fell into place. Well, now I have courage because I have my own back. I'm not relying on you to tell me I'm doing a good job.
Right.
I have it. So it's a lot easier for me to show up in an interview like this because I'm not afraid anymore. And then all the other things come. Time is easier to deal with. There are better connections with people in the world because I'm not afraid to impress everyone. And I'm just, here I am. It's me, folks. And I found that in general, people like that better than that guy that used to put on a little show for people.
Yeah. One thing, Jonathan, that you said that I think is kind of worth digging into a little more is when you said to yourself, there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm curious to know, did you ever figure out where that voice actually came from? Like, was that from you, or was that maybe from someone in your life, or a collection of experiences that just told you like there's something wrong with you?
I mean, my guess is it comes from childhood, right? I mean, I was the youngest of three, so I was the one who was told what to do and couldn't do stuff right. I had a December birthday, which meant I was one of the youngest in my class at school, which meant I was one of the weaker ones.
Wow.
And I wasn't advanced. And someone, the name's not coming to me, but someone did a study on this, that some of the most successful sports players, I think they did it in football, they tracked football players, but I'm not 100% sure. But they were studying athletes, and the most successful ones had birthdays in January and February. And they then tried to figure it out, and it was well they were the oldest ones in their class, so they were the strongest, so then the coaches picked on them, and then they got to do better. So I was the weak one. I was the last pick for the team. I always felt like I wasn't as good as everybody else. So then in my older life, when there wasn't anybody to tell me I wasn't good enough, someone had to tell me.
So it was yourself?
That someone was me.
Right.
because the story was already implanted. It became a part of my
Right.
subconscious belief system. I mean, look, I don't always share this so straight out, but what I really do with people is I reprogram their subconscious beliefs. Or I shouldn't say that. I help them.
Mm-hmm.
I guide them and reprogram their subconscious beliefs because my subconscious beliefs have been reprogrammed. If there is any difference between me then and me now, then I knew that I wasn't enough. It didn't matter what great accomplishments I had on any given day or over a year or over any period of time. I knew I wasn't good enough. And now it doesn't matter what I do, what failures I have along with successes. Every day is a great day. Every day is a mixture of things you want to happen that are successful and things you don't want to happen every day of your life. And now I just get to look at all that and go, hey, you're awesome. That's the difference. Today, I am always good enough no matter what happens.
Yeah. Wow, Jonathan, that's really powerful. Let's talk about tangibles, just so people can get an idea of what it would be like to work with you. I have here in my notes that you use the 4 pillars of self-love to help your clients. Can you break that down for us? Like, what are the 4 pillars of self-love?
So the 4 pillars of self-love. The first one is simply acceptance. Normally, see, I talk about the 3 steps of change. The 3 steps of change are observe, accept, and then take action. We spoke a little bit about action. So there is action. But most people, they don't like where they are, right? So I'm going to make a resolution in January or what, I'm going to change this. And we don't observe or accept where we are. We just make a change. So imagine a GPS in your car, right? And you put in the address of where you want to go, but the GPS has no signal. So it has no idea where you are. And you have to drive around in circles trying to get there. Well, that's kind of what we're doing. If we don't know where we are, if we don't accept where we are, the change doesn't stick. You'll get short-term benefit. I'm not saying taking that massive action and just creating change doesn't work. It actually does. But the problem is that normally you wind up back where you started. That's the circle of, you hate your job, you quit your job, you get a new one, and you hate that again. Or you're in a relationship, you break up, and you're in another relationship with the same person that just has a different name.
Right.
So that's the cycle. And there's a reason. It's because we didn't pause and accept. And acceptance has to do with, in a way, what I was talking about before. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be fixed. This is just the moment as it is. You're not saying it's good or bad. You're not saying you want it or don't want it. It just is. And we need to begin to practice acceptance of this present moment the way it is. So that's pillar number 1 is acceptance. Pillar number 2, and I know it sounds cliche, but gratitude. And gratitude is not just about gratitude. Gratitude aren't words you write down on a sheet of paper. They're feelings that you experience. And we reprogram our subconscious through body sensations, through feelings in the body. Right? So we can transmute the feelings of fear into the feelings of gratitude and love and kindness. It starts with the feelings in our body, which we have to accept, and then we can transmute them. And what gratitude also really is, it's about creating a positive emotional state. Normally, we try and create change from a negative emotional state. Right? We don't like this, we're going to change it.
Right.
So we have to accept. And then we have to create a positive emotional state. Now, gratitude is not the only way. You can put on a song, you can go for a jog, you can take a bath. There are other ways to do it. Gratitude is just the easiest way because you can do it anytime, anywhere, at any time.
Right.
So gratitude, create a positive emotional state for yourself so that when you take action, that change will stick. The third pillar, and I'll be honest, this was the last one that I figured out, the last one I learned, the last one to add to my life. And this was the biggest game changer I've ever experienced, even though there is a 4th pillar. But this 3rd pillar, biggest change I ever experienced, and it's forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. Because most days we have tens of thousands of thoughts a day. And 95% of them are the same as the thoughts we had yesterday. Now, 80% of those are negative. And that goes to gratitude. We have to put in some positive thoughts. But also in terms of forgiveness, we are replaying stories in our head that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the same story. And we say in ourselves, if that would have been different, my life would be different today. Whether it's what someone else did and we're still blaming them, or what we did and we're still blaming ourselves.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We have to practice forgiveness. I'm telling you, folks, it is a game changer. And the fourth pillar is self-love, self-kindness, self-compassion, simply being kind to yourself. I mean, here's the thing. We've been taught this equation: work hard long enough, then you'll be successful. When you're successful for long enough, then you'll be happy. That's what you were talking about before with that carrot, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the goal is to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love, if you tell yourself you're good just the way you are. I see these new wrinkles and I say, hey, wrinkles, welcome to the family. Instead of beating myself up, making myself feel like crap, right. I treat myself like a friend. I don't wait for the compliments from you. I'll accept them if you have something kind to me to say, but I give myself compliments. Mm-hmm. I'm kind to myself, and that allows me to be happy today. Mm-hmm. Now I'm happy. Now I am successful, because that's why I was working so hard in the first place. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm happy and successful, now I can show up and do the hard work and to contribute and share with people. And the whole journey is so much easier and so much more joyful.
Mm-hmm. You know, Jonathan, I feel like the thing that you help people master, not just self-love, but being present, right? Like being present and really taking in what's happening. And no matter what strong of the feelings that come of it, to really observe it, to be like, oh, that's interesting. You know, like you kind of mentioned the wrinkles in your eyes, like rather than, you know, criticize yourself, you're like, welcome to the family. You know, and I think that's very powerful. It sounds like you've really mastered the art of reframing, in a sense, like looking at things on a more positive note. I don't think it's about being in denial, right? But it's more so like, you know, loving yourself. Be like, I'm glad you're there. Wrinkles, eyes, you've done a lot for me.
Yeah, it's the opposite of denial, because that's what we're taught. If you don't like something, deny it. If you feel fear, conquer it, shove it down, suck it up. And it's the opposite. No, there is fear. I feel fear inside of me. You know what? If I don't feel fear inside of me, I know I'm not doing anything important. I want to feel it. So, and if you're feeling sadness, right? We've all been told, don't be sad. No, be sad. Do you know a single person on the planet that hasn't been sad, that doesn't have fear, that isn't angry at some point? No. So we have to own them. Don't deny them. Own them. Your body, I'm not denying there are wrinkles. I'm not trying to cover them up anymore. I'm simply owning the reality that's here. And even the reality that, okay, you know what? Look, I'll be totally honest with you, Jen. I'd rather the wrinkles weren't there. I'd rather the grays weren't there. But they are there. So it doesn't make sense beating myself up and denying it anymore, like I did for years. I can stay young forever. No, now I just go, okay, you are there. So instead of fighting, I'm going to embrace you. Welcome to the family. Because if it were a friend of mine, isn't that how I would treat a friend? Right? If a friend came, oh man, I look like crap, or you know, whatever, or I had a bad day, what do? You support them. You give them a hug, you hold space for them. But for ourselves, we beat ourselves up. You know, a friend says, oh, I have a new wrinkle. We say, oh, you look great though, don't we? But to ourselves, oh, you got a new wrinkle. We beat ourselves up. No, you look great. If you're feeling sad, you know, Michael Singer talks about this in his book, Untethered Soul. He talks about letting the pain pass through you, right? Whether it's the pain of, oh, I don't love this new feature that I have, or the pain of there's fear, there's sadness, there's anger, or any of the regular emotions that every human being feels, folks. Not denying it. And not trying to just change it either right away, right? I didn't lead with gratitude. That's not the first pillar. The first pillar is acceptance. Accept that it's here. Let it pass through you. Experience it. All the changes will come from those experiences.
Ooh, I'm just taking everything you're saying, Jonathan. I feel like
it's big. I know it's a lot.
Yeah,
but it's doable.
Very much so. And I feel like we've only scratched the surface of what you're talking about in regards to the self-love revolution. And I think this is a great teaser to get people to reach out to you. And so we'll go ahead and wrap up on that in a second here. But let's go ahead and talk specifically to the small business owner and entrepreneur, to them specifically about self-love. Before we go, anything you want to say to them directly?
It doesn't all have to be a struggle. I get it. I was there. I was in it. My company was number one. I let all kinds of relationships fall by the wayside. I let my health fall by the wayside. And I'm not saying I didn't have beautiful moments. I did. I had lots of beautiful moments. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to struggle every day.
Yeah.
You can practice kindness for yourself. You'll get your time back. You'll get your relationships back. You'll get your health back. And the truth is, the money in the bank will grow. And at the end of the day, you will be happier. And here's the key. If I'm wrong, if that money in the bank doesn't grow, which it will, if that doesn't happen, you'll be happy. And isn't that why you're doing all of this in the first place? Be happy first. And this is a pathway for that. Love yourself first. Be kind to yourself first, so that you can help others with more courage and more ability, more energy.
Wow. Ooh, lots to process for me for this weekend. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. I think this is a great way to wrap up our conversation. I definitely took a lot from what you had to say, and I definitely feel like I love myself more, based on everything that you shared. So thank you again for joining us here on The Thoughtful Entrepreneur.
Thank you so much for having me here. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope it was helpful for everybody. And just be kind to yourselves.
Fantastic. Once again, to our listeners, this is Jonathan Troen. He is the Self-Love Mentor and Chief Inspirational Officer at Self-Love Revolution. You can learn more about him and his company at selfloverevolution.com. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll chat with you in the next episode. Tune in next time.